You also had a sports jacket.
Yeah, you had a sports jacket, which I thought was a great touch. And I think
So did I.
I'm going to start traveling with one.
I'm getting one.
That was a good move. Welcome to 10 Minute Travels. With me, as always, is Shane Patrick.
With me, as always, is Phil Freeman. Today, we're going to be talking to Patrick Verity about riding motorcycles in Peru and a few other things.
Let's get right to it, shall we? What was the most beautiful, scenery or... First, I'm going to go with Shane on this one. I'll go with you, Patrick.
I don't know what to say.
So what was the most, up there that you'll go, wow, I remember seeing this, and this really stuck with me?
There was a day where we rode through some clouds and then got on top of this plain, which kind of looked like the Midlands in Scotland. But you could see clouds and just the peaks going out. And it was surreal. And then you guys saw people go back into the clouds, and going into the clouds is pretty miserable. It's cold and wet and whatever, but pain's in the short-term memory. You don't remember that. It just sucks while you're doing it. But it was beautiful. You guys all disappeared.
What day was that? Do you recall where we were headed, where we stayed that night?
Southish, day 5.
I'm sorry to ask that, but I'm curious because were we going to Huancavelica that day, and we were going along the mountaintops, and it was a really tasty morsel of paved road?
Yes, it was that, and there was
traffic at all, and we
kept going in between those signs that said Lina de Nebuela, the cloud line, Nebuela,
Neblina.
Uh-huh. We kept going up and down in those, and there were a couple guanacos. Yep.
A type of llama, wild alpaca, just so you guys know.
That you only see where no one would ever want to be. It's super miserable where they live. You drop a couple 100 feet and there's food available and you don't see those creatures.
I think that was and it was a really nice payment. I think that was that stretch before Huancavelica, which was what a neat town, but it was just a beautiful stretch of road. And there were some mining roads that split off of it. I think to speak of, it was just our road. I wonder if that was the day.
I think we're thinking of the same day, Phil.
Yeah, that was the day that Howard, when we stopped the first time on that road, when we finally got over our first flat tire of the day and we were climbing out, we stopped at this one overlook, and I spent 2 months with Howard in Peru, and he hugged me but twice. And the first time he hugged me was when I gave him the 1200 GS after he had been on a 500 CBX. And the second one was that road. And it meant a lot because that was one hell of a road. In the middle, just to get to that road was 2 lifetimes and some journey, but that road was outside of reality, the way it was laid out, and no traffic and the quality of road. But to get to that road, it has no name to anybody, no reference for any motorcycle rider. Only in that on this earth have ridden that, and it would be a very famous road if it was in North America. That's for sure. What about you?
The day that I remember the best was the second day that we went down to sea level and then came back up, where we went back down to sea level, and it was like you're in the Himalaya. Remember, it was pavement at first, and then we'd go through mango trees and all this. Every time I saw...
Okay, so we were leaving Huaraz, and we were going to Cajatambo.
Back down, and then back up.
And then we went into that the Cajatambo valley, which was... That was beautiful.
Yes.
And it got more and more rustic as we went. And there was these tabletops, and you could see how all the farmland was laid out, plantations. But it was desert, but it was also agriculture that day.
That was my favorite day by far.
And then it turned into a 1-lane road as we were climbing into Cajatambo. And then it turned pretty rustic, really steep and tunnels.
Well, it
sort of like
into
Duck Canyon, right?
Well, I've never ridden the Himalaya, but it seemed like the Himalaya to me, where the road was carved out of the mountain. So you'd be driving on the road, but on the carved out part around all these switchbacks. It was my favorite day. I think.
Oh, yeah. And then when we pulled into Cajatambo, this little town sits at about, I think, 9,000 feet. And just to get there as the crow flies, my GPS is saying it's only 4 miles away. But my GPS is saying that it's going to take us almost 2 hours to get there because the road happens to have to wind all the way around the canyon, way back by where the water is, and then wind all the way back. And the slope was at average more than 45-degree angle. It was a rock would continually fall for thousands of feet on both sides of the canyon. And you had to wind your way all the way to there. And when we finally got into that town, I don't know when the last time they had a foreigner in that town. It was just, and our valet parking was a little bit different. It was with pigs and chickens and some other lot. And then all the locals gawked at us. I had the Samsonite. And
they were impressed by the Samsonite.
And it was raining pretty hard, and we rolled into our place. And I really loved it in that it was definitely not mainstream. No. You had to go way out of your way. You knew you were traveling then.
You were getting stared at by the locals. Like, whoa, look at that dude. He's weird looking.
Yeah, Cajatambo. So, yeah, and then the next day was, climbing out of Cajatambo. Whole road was pretty. You're either going up, down, or across, but you're not staying straight on the road for a while.
That day after climbing out of that town, which was an amazing ride, isn't that the day we forgot about that amazing ride? Because that was the day where we had the flat tires. We did that 100-mile gravel road. You had the flat tire. Ed's bike broke. And then we were riding in the dark.
That was a few days later. That was the second to last day, if you remember. That was on the way to Chivay.
Yeah, it's not ideal to ride in the dark there.
That's true. We would have been hard pressed to get in before dark, even if it was without that road construction. That was a long day.
That was an amazing day. Go now. Don't think about it. Go now.
What I saw you had rubber gloves. Tell everybody seriously.
Well, that's probably not smart. I don't think they're ideal for crashing.
Were you warm?
Oh, absolutely.
To tell people what you had.
I make my living on a boat, so I have lots of waterproof type gear for working. And we rode in the rain. I had no heated grips.
What did you have? Tell us.
I wear like a full exoskeleton underneath my Gore-Tex type jacket, but hard pads on the inside. Mm-hmm. And it was perfect.
And waterproof is key.
Yep. No, I loved it.
And what else would you give them as advice? As like maybe traffic or how-tos to get around?
Well, first off, the best advice I got was that first day that you were talking to us and said it's the speed differential. Like, that is serious. It is. You're going full speed to full stop, and you need to be aware in front of you is going to be at full stop. Mm-hmm. So I think that's huge.
Anything else about passing or stopping or traffic flow?
Well, using your horn. Anytime before I pass, use your horn. Give them a couple honks. Just, hey, I'm here. I'm going to pass you.
And it works.
It is. And if it wasn't a cool pass, the guy would signal either by honking or swerving into my lane, which seemed like he was out to get me, but he was actually out to save me. Like, don't pass. It's not safe.
How about you, Shane? Is there any advice you'd give to somebody before they geared up and went to Peru to ride it?
Well, depending on your rectum, maybe you might want to bring your own toilet paper.
Oh yes, that's a definite. Wet wipes are. Oh my god.
What about your own seat?
Yeah,
I think next year I'm bringing my own seat.
Well, I figured Peru, the country, put all the money into money left over for the actual seats of the toilets. But go on, Shane. What else?
Well, I mean that's a lot of it. Really, is just those little things that are going to make your life better. 3 shirts is plenty. You're not going to wear any more than that. And if you get dirty or just keep wearing that same one shirt. I wore the same shirt every day riding. But I carried a bunch of extra ones that I'm never going to bring again.
Brought up.
You also had a sports jacket.
Yeah, you had a sports jacket, which I thought was a great touch. I think I'm going to start traveling with one.
I'm getting one.
That was a good move.
You brought decorum wherever you went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks. It's the same amount of weight or room as a sweatshirt, and it looks good.
Always.
Yeah, Peru's kind of magical because there's enough infrastructure that you don't have to be super adventurous, and you can have a great time. The folks who rent motorcycles down there know what they're doing and can lay things out for you. But if you are a little bit more adventurous, you can ride, like we scratched the surface. Phil's been down there a bunch of different times, and there's way more to ride than has been ridden so far.
I will say that if anybody's listening to this and they're really now thinking they want to commit to a ride down there, there's a couple ways to do it. You can rent a motorcycle, and we did. We rented out of Arequipa with Peru Motors, and I would recommend them to anybody. Or you could go on an organized trip. MotoQuest, of course, does that, but it's more of a turnkey experience for you. But you do get a veneer of true adventure the minute you start getting into about second gear anyway. And so there's several ways to do it. But yeah, if you don't do it and you're thinking you should have, why not get that off the list, right?
Call MotoQuest.
Anything else that you want to talk about or anything?
Well, I would like Patrick to expand on coffee, devices, and traveling.
I know where you're going with this. You're asking about my AeroPress, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
It's a travel podcast.
Here's how this happens. I like good coffee, and I had been to Thailand before, and the Buddhist part of Thailand just has decent coffee. So I brought my own coffee maker. I travel with an AeroPress. And when I was at the Bangkok airport, the guy's going through my stuff, and he gets to my AeroPress. He looks at it, and he looks at me, and he thought it was a penis pump. It wasn't a penis pump. I don't travel with a penis pump. I keep it at home. So yeah, make sure you have your beans with your AeroPress, or the customs guy's going to think you're a pervert.
Did you bring it to Peru?
No, I didn't. I should have.
Why? Why didn't you?
Probably because I didn't want them to think it was a penis pump, but they didn't check any of my stuff, so I should have brought my pump.
That was Patrick Verity talking about riding motorcycles in Peru and a few other things. If you want to learn more about Patrick or anything else we do at 10 Minute Travels, please visit 10minutetravels.com.
And we want to remind you to make sure that your sense of humor matches your sense of adventure.
And please like, subscribe, and share this podcast on all the platforms.